The question that I was asked to speak about was the relationship between peace and violence. It's a good question. I think the question was, should you live in peace or in violence? Um, of course, everyone should live in peace. What do you do when you're encountering violence? What does it mean, violence? Is to violate. I mind my own business. There are two things that I don't want to do. First is I don't want to get hurt. Second is I don't want to hurt other people. And with the exception of my Army time, I've never hurt anybody except maybe in training, and only accidentally or coincidentally. I do teach a class for women on self-defense. It comes from the idea that violence is seldom the answer, but when it is the answer, there is no other answer. It's a difficult class to teach. It's not that difficult to teach. It's a difficult class for the women to absorb. I think it's actually difficult for men to absorb the idea of an innate sense of violence. It's primitive. How one reacts can be either primitive or educated. In the face of violence, can one remain peaceful? Can one remain peaceful while in a state of violence? So that answer to the question is you should always be in a state of peace. Violence, well, we have to talk about the soft overcoming the hard. We can't talk about violence and peace without understanding the response to aggression. How are we to respond to aggression? Of course, we don't want to be there, but it's not always our choice. So the idea of self-protection is innate, but our access to those intuitive skills and understanding are dampened by the cultural expectation. And we're taught that violence is bad and peace is good. We never defined peace and we never defined violence. A piece of writing can be violent, and a person sitting in meditation can be violent. Chen Cheng, when he talks about uh, universal peace, he's talking about universal peace of mind, peace between individuals and between an individual and a culture that isn't actively pursuing a peaceful relationship with oneself can never be a peaceful community. In the Great Learning, Confucius, it talks about the desire for world peace and works its way back to the peace of the individual. Um, how do you define being at peace with oneself? I don't think it's a easy topic. I think the application of it is very simple, and that's to relax. It's the main principle of Tai Chi, to loosen up, to let go, to quit holding, um, to adhere, to not resist and not let go, but to hold to the other as you were their shadow, never pushing and never detaching. That's a skill, it's a physical skill. Well, I think all of those physical skills are manifestation of mental training. To meet an oncoming force with more than acceptance, with pleading, please come to me, bring me everything you have so I can learn to relax and adhere under all conditions, under any condition. That concept is expressed in Professor's words of investing in loss. And I don't think, while I hear it all the time, I don't think it's well understood. I very well may not understand it myself, but I practice what I was taught. It's better to be pushed. I'm talking about the physical practice of pushing hands, the Tui Shou, but if it only manifests itself in the physical practice of Tui Shou, then it's not really helpful in one's way of life. And the physical problems that we encounter of somebody putting pressure on us is secondary to the accepting of that pressure that's being put on us. That pressure that one is putting on us cannot be done if we are not willing to receive it. By receive it, I mean accept it. We don't accept the pressure because we yield, but we don't run away from. We stay attached to that pressure until it finds its way naturally out of harm's way. So in doing that, because of the circle, because of what comes in and it goes around, and the principle of seeking the straight off the curve that what comes in and goes around and then cuts right back through to the center again. It's not my energy. It's not my idea. My idea is to adhere to the incoming force, to understand it and to neutralize it. Well, neutralizing and adherence are really two aspects of the same thing. You can't separate adherence from neutralization. If you can't adhere, you can't neutralize. So if you're neutralizing, you're automatically adhering because you are the shadow of the other person. If in the class it says, if others don't move, I don't move. I'm peaceful, I don't move. But if others move slightly, I move first. And that has to do with one's attention to the intention of the other person, which is broadcasting itself through their body language. But if we're not in a state of mind to receive that information, we won't know what they're going to do until after they've already done it. And it's very difficult to catch up. It's much better to arrive before they do. It's not magic. And it has to do with being peaceful, being calm inside, so that the incoming force doesn't get stuck on some concept that we hold on to, which manifests itself in a physical block. And a block can be pushed, but a bag of water is not so easily pushed. So that practice has to be continuous and ongoing. You don't shut down, not for a day. And that's called living in peace. That doesn't mean that you're in bliss. It just means that you're doing what's appropriate at the time with the proper state of mind, which is calm. My dog mentor, Sapir Weiss, told me calmness is dominance. To dominate is the dog is following the calm leader, not dominated, but receiving of the leadership. That happens naturally. So that's living in peace. Now, how do you know? Never use violence. You just receive and return. Of course, being a straight off a curve and a curve having unlimited points, the tangent off that curve can point to anything. I train myself to always send it back to the center of the force, of the place from which that force comes. Somewhere along the center, I'm going to encounter a vulnerability. What they give to me, I return to them. Nothing more. It's not violent. Well, is a tornado violent? I guess you do